show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. The following program contains mature content. Any opinions expressed are those solely of the host and any guests. Listener discretion strongly advised.
Hey everybody, welcome to another virtual campfire sit-down called Weiss Thoughts. Each episode of Weiss Thoughts offers entertaining insight into today's world. You'll never know what's on my mind. We got a great show for you this time around on the program. Remember to visit the website, purplepitstudios.com. Search for Weiss Thoughts. You can listen to each and every episode, all at purplepitstudios.com. So what do we got in store for you this time out on the program? Have you heard the public service announcements about nuclear attacks? It's happening in New York and New Jersey. We're going to talk about it coming up on this episode of Weiss Thoughts. Yep, it's back to the 50's. This time, coming up on Weiss Thoughts.
Wearing his sunglasses indoors just because he wants to. Let's get back to the program. Here's your host, Terry Weiss.
Hey everybody, welcome to another virtual campfire sit-down with me here on Weiss Thoughts. And speaking of hot things, have you seen the stories lately over here the past week in the news about possible nuclear attack on the eastern half of the United States of America, especially in the states of New York, cities of New York City and New Jersey as well? They're the public service announcements that have been released by those states about the possibility of nuclear attack and how the public can, and I'm air quoting here in the studio, protect themselves. Welcome to the program. What a way to start, right? I hope all is well with you. I hope everyone is well. I hope your family's well. I hope you're well, and nothing but good things going your way in your life here as we struggle on to, survive. Yeah, the record inflation here in the United States of America, and we try to muddle our way through it. And unfortunately, things are just, we're having all kinds of problems here. Gas is going back up again in the USA. I don't know what country you're listening in, but here in the United States, especially in the northeastern half of the United States of America, I wish I had better news, but gas is going up. Home utility bills is skyrocketing. Me and the missus were looking at our natural gas bill the other day, and over $160. And this is in warm weather, folks. We haven't even turned on the furnace yet here for the winter in the Northeast. This is just, washing clothes, and drying them in the gas dryer, hot water tank, and, a gas stove. That's it. I mean, that's all we got right now that runs gas in the house. We haven't hit the heater yet. We haven't turned that on because it hasn't been cold enough. As of yet, really, I mean, I think we just turned it on a few, like a day or so ago, so it wasn't for the last bill. Over $160 for what just a mere 6 or 8 months ago was only running us about $90, $94 a month. So that shows you the rapid increase in prices here in the USA and food prices. Have you gone shopping lately here in the United States? Oh boy, you better bring a loan officer and you better have good credit, I guess, because the prices are out of hand. And yet the talking heads in Washington keep telling us that it's the best economy ever and things are getting better. Otherwise known as blowing smoke up your ass, basically, is what they're doing. There's an old expression. How can you tell when a politician is lying? Their lips are moving. That's right. And Putin's gone crazy. We all know that. We all know he was. Rumor has it he has some type of blood cancer or some type of cancer. That's the rumor going around the internet water cooler, as it were. And so he's made some veiled threats about nuclear weapons. Folks, it's time for the CIA or where's Chuck Norris when you need him? Somebody needs to take this guy out. But the sad thing is in today's modern world, he's just going to be replaced by probably somebody possibly 10 times worse. Lord knows we got a lot of nut jobs running countries and in positions of power, in the world. And believe it or not, in the United States, we got a lot of unstable, unhinged people in positions that they just should not be in. But just going to read you a little something here. The Doctors for Disaster Preparedness, or DDP, if you want to use that acronym, they actually have a website, and it's ddponline.org. D, Doctors for D, Disaster, P, Preparedness, online.org. You can go to this website, and the DDP issues a statement about New York City's nuclear attack public service announcement. They have what's called the yellow card, how to survive a nuclear attack. And I'm just going to read you this here. It's a 60-second nuclear detonation training for first responders. A, drop and cover when you see a flash. Stay down behind the cover for a full 2 minutes. Even covering with a newspaper can prevent burns. Keep eyes closed during the bright light to prevent blindness. All good, but I think if you're in a certain radius of the blast, you're going to be French toast anyway, and your ashes will be blowing around in the wind. Part B, the 7-10 rule. Fallout loses 90% of its radioactivity in the first 7 hours after a detonation, and an additional 90% for every 7-fold increase in time. 90% for the first 7 hours, 99% in 49 hours, or 2 days, and 99% in 2 weeks. So that, I don't know. I'm a little confused by that. That paragraph there. C, fallout looks like sand, ash, or grit as it falls and accumulates on the ground. If no fallout is visible on the ground, there is no radiation, and they have an exclamation point after that. I don't know about that, because radiation's kind of invisible. To be sure, place a piece of white paper, that's going to be, we're going to have that around, a dinner plate, or anything with a smooth surface on the ground, and check every 15 minutes for fallout particles. If visual indications of fallout appear, take shelter for 2 or 3 days underground or behind thick walls. And make sure you kiss your ass goodbye. No, I added that. These tips are generally true. I like how they have that in parentheses. These tips are generally true. Talk about a wishy-washy statement. Wow, generally true. Yeah, that's how that's that word salad that politicians love to use, and people that are trying to gaslight you. They always leave themselves a fucking road out. A road out of the forest. Generally, typically, that's another word that's thrown around, especially in corporate America, too. Well, typically, this is how this works. It's just another fucking way to have an out to cover your ass. How about just mean what you say and say what you mean? Or say what you mean and mean what you say. However you want to do that. Give a card to each emergency responder in your jurisdiction. These principles were developed during the nuclear weapons test from the 1940s through the 60s, and remain valid today. The laws of physics don't change. This card is by the Physicians for Civil Let me read that last part again. These principles were developed during the nuclear weapons tests from the 1940s to the 1960s and remain valid today. I wish we had some cool music in the background, Mr. Producer, where are you when I need you? And remain valid today. The laws of physics do not change. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't think nuclear technology has not evolved quadruple-fold since the 1960s, then you're a fool. But judging by the people that you elect to office here in the United States, a lot of you are fools on some of the things you believe. New York City's Emergency Management Agency has released a 90-second public service announcement, PSA for, short, about what to do if the big one hits. Stating there was no specific reason for the timing, the message is simple. Get inside fast. Stay inside. Stay tuned to the media because they're so fucking trustworthy for official announcements. And don't go outside until officials say it's safe. Awareness is prudent, but this PSA lacks vital information, states Doctors for Disaster Preparedness, or the DDP. President Jane Orant, MD DDP, refers people to the 60-second nuclear detonation training card, which has been distributed to thousands of first responders and has issued the following statement. In the event of a nuclear detonation, the most important life-saving measure is to drop and cover immediately if you see a bright flash. A blast wave will follow with hurricane-force winds turning windows into shards of glass. Survival is more likely if you are lying flat on the ground. Fallout looks like sand, ash, or grit. If there's fallout, you will need to take cover for several days. If a building has no basement, get as close to the middle of the building as possible. Fallout loses 90% of its radioactivity in the first 7 hours and an additional 90% for each sevenfold increase in time. Official communications are likely to be unavailable, and officials may lack appropriate radiation monitoring instruments. Citizens can acquire detection devices now or instructions and common materials for making an expedient instrument. If not within the zone of complete destruction, well, I love that. If you're not within the zone of complete destruction, most people could survive if they do not panic and have some basic knowledge. Well, whippity fucking doo-dah day. Wow. I did. Just another fine example of gaslighting brought to you by our federal government and elected officials and media. I love it. Stay tuned to the media for official word because they were so fucking trustworthy during the pandemic. Basically, you've lost anyone with common sense out here in the United States. You've lost our trust media. So, I mean, that ain't going to happen, just so you know. No. But I just find it rather odd of the timing of starting to release these things. Now, is there some type of new reason for this? Is it just crappy timing? I don't know. I don't know. But, we've got a desperate despot in Vladimir Putin. The man is not well, both physically and mentally. So that's kind of scary. You got China saber rattling with Taiwan. You've got Iran as well. You got North Korea. Folks, this could not be the worst time for somebody like bumbling, stumbling Biden to be in office because the man is weak as milk toast. He's as soggy as milk toast. He has no backbone. He has no cognizant reconciliation or recognition of where he is or what he is or who he is. He makes gaffe after gaffe. His handlers are fools. A lot of people in his administration are fools. There's a new video report this evening. I'm just looking online now. Video report: Putin threatens West with nuclear missiles. He's the guy. I mean, think about it. If he has nothing to lose and he's going to die anyway, what's to stop this clown from ordering the button being pushed? Except maybe people with common sense and a shred of human dignity, in his administration and in Russia. Because otherwise, man, who knows? we could be in for big trouble. And this is not only happening in New York City and that. New Jersey warns residents of a nuclear emergency as well. Some of America's biggest states have started warning residents. This is Drake from the Newsmax website that they've started warning them about it here. And just to give you a taste of that,
Fred
Here.
Flights. Fred, thanks for being with us.
Have a
seems
listen.
like every day that goes by, every time we speak to you, the threat seems to loom a bit larger. Talk to us about where we are today, specifically with nuclear threats.
Good to be here. Well, the disappearance of monster submarines that carry monster nuclear missiles, that's a big deal. I think we have to take seriously Putin's threat of nuclear weapons. I think it's very unlikely this will happen.
NATO's saying that Russia's nuclear sub is left port.
I think that arming the Ukrainians to the teeth is the right way to go. But I also think we have to scale back the rhetoric a little bit. H.R. McMaster said on Sunday, on one of the Sunday shows, that we may be looking at the collapse of the Russian army in Ukraine. That's going to be humiliating. And I would counsel Joe Biden to not make it more humiliating than it has to be, not to do, laps in the end zone that Russia's going to lose. Putin, I think, is going to have to accept the loss. That's what I'm hoping. And I don't think we should make it harder for him.
Well, the only way Russia is a superpower still is the fact that it has nuclear weapons, right?
That's right. I mean, it certainly doesn't have a superpower economy. It has an economy that's about equivalent to Italy. And when we hear that Russia and China are going to be partnering against the United States, Russia's quite a junior partner to China, given its sad economic situation, the fact that its population is declining. The Russians are a convenient ally for the Chinese, but I don't think the Chinese plan on relying on them.
Do you think that Putin is ultimately on his way out? Is this sort of his denouement as the leader?
I think we need to talk about that. Assuming that he continues to give orders that result in these military disasters, will there be a time that his generals try to overthrow him? I imagine that Putin is ready for that. But I don't think we should be talking publicly about regime change. We have to talk about de-escalating and not create a situation where Putin feels like he is in such a bind that he has to resort to tactical nuclear weapons.
So how do we get to that point? Any kind of compromise, Ukraine's not going to make it because they want that territory back that through sham elections Putin has taken. And then Putin wants to save face. So if he's able to annex parts of Ukraine, it looks like he had some success. How do you see this playing out? Because there doesn't seem to be an easy answer.
Well, we're not going to get there by Zelensky saying what he said the other day, that he'll only enter negotiations if Putin is not in charge of Russia and he wants to immediately be admitted to NATO. That's throwing gasoline on the fire. I think there should be active efforts to hold peace talks, even though both parties aren't ready for them. I think that the U.S. and its European allies should be aggressively pushing this to try to schedule things in Geneva or Vienna. Hopefully the parties will show up. I don't know how successful this will be or when it will happen, but there's just not enough talk by the Biden administration on finding an off-ramp, finding a way to end this conflict.
So there you go. There's just a little bit of what's going on in the world here with the war over in the Ukraine, which has been going on for quite a few months. And believe it or not, we've been sending a hell of a lot of money to them as well. We got our own natural disasters going on here in the United States of America with Hurricane Ian just blowing through all of Florida and up the East Coast there in South Carolina and that. And, again, the people in the United States, a lot of them are hurting because of the recession we're in now with the high inflation and that, but yet we're sending hundreds of millions of dollars overseas to help a country fight Russia, and you don't really know what these other countries are up to and what they're contributing. I haven't heard, but I must be fair. I have not researched what other countries may have been or not been contributing, so that just under the auspices of full fairness, because I'm always fair with you folks when I discuss a topic, and if I don't know something, I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to bullshit you. So unlike the mainstream media. But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're in a pretty precarious time here. We really are. We're in a pretty precarious time. Not since the 50s Cold War has this really, the world's been this dangerous. It's a powder keg, and I don't think it'll take too much for it to go. And the sad thing is we human beings as a species, we don't seem to learn. How many world wars have we had? 2. We've had numerous conflicts after that, genocides around the world, and we just don't seem to learn how to get along with each other. Obviously World War I, we had to stop a madman. World War II, definitely Hitler a madman. Vietnam War, we probably could have sat that one out because it really didn't make much of a difference. That was the industrial complex there, the war machine industrial complex there, wanting just to make some money and run opium and drugs and other things like that. And, a lot of things around the world, the Gulf War and things of that nature, to my personal opinion, were fought under the false offices of freedom, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, no disrespect to anyone who went and served or volunteered or wanted to, okay? It's just a matter of not being able to trust the government, okay? And definitely, the government has proven that it can't be trusted time and time again, especially after the pandemic and the gaslighting that the media has gone and everything. It's just we're in a pretty tough spot. That's the bottom line. I'm saying prayers for us, and saying prayers for our country and the world. And I think all you ought to do that too. I mean, because we as people can, that's all we can do. I mean, there's people in charge, and frankly, in the United States, there's some scary people in charge here, at least in the United States. And I don't mean scary as in intimidating. I'm talking about scary as in stupid buffoons. I don't know. But that's about all I got for you today on the program. It's just I wanted to give you a quick episode here this time around. I came across that article and I was just dumbfounded, and I'm like, we're back to the 50s again with Cold War, nuclear threats and such, and hopefully none of it will ever come to fruition. If it does, and you're coming across this audio podcast after the nuclear holocaust, if I survived, look me up. If I didn't, we know what happened, right? But hopefully none of that will ever happen, and will go on for many more of a decade. But I just, I would hope that we would have more common sense to, not cause mass genocide and end the human race. But who knows? Crazier shit has been done throughout history. Only time's going to tell, my friends. But hey, thanks for joining me for this episode of Wise Thoughts. Truly appreciate your listenership. And do me a favor, if you like the program, would you tell your friends and give us a positive rate and review? And don't forget to subscribe to the show. That way whenever Wise Thoughts puts out a new episode, you'll have it. Check out the website. It's located at purplepitstudios.com. Just look for Wise Thoughts on the website. Also, you can check out the YouTube channel. I've got a YouTube channel. You can see my face for radio there, doing all kinds of different stuff. And just look for Wise Thoughts on YouTube. Check out the Facebook page. And I'm on Twitter, so if you want to tweet at me on Twitter, it's at Terry Weiss. Until next time, my friends, like I always tell you, if you want to see a change in the world, you have to become the change you want to see in the world. It all begins with you, the person looking back at you in the mirror every morning. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. And I look forward to meeting with you again real soon. Take care, everybody.